Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
We are just a few days away from Christmas. So,
Yeah, that's crazy. How many days away is it?
4.
4 days till Christmas.
Today's the 21st and it's the 25th.
Wow. Today's my niece's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Brooklyn. I need to call you.
Yes.
She is 14 or 15 today.
So, being so close to Christmas and looking at our beautiful blue Christmas tree that has one red Merry Christmas bulb on it.
Who did that? Catherine.
Yes.
Did you do
It was
that?
Catherine.
Did you do that?
I did it.
Do it?
I did it this morning just for the podcast. I was like, I know
I
that's
did
going
not
to
see it.
irritate you so much.
You're so mean to me.
I knew you were going to hate that.
I know, and I actually would not have noticed. I mean, because for one thing, just for those of you who don't know what's happening here, there's lights shining at us. So, it's like you can only see so much.
Yeah.
But now that you have that pointed out to me, that's all I can see.
You're going to notice it the whole episode.
Yeah, I really
I did that on purpose just to mess with you today.
Yeah, I think that what everyone's realizing right now is that you are unkind and unloving to me. And everyone's feeling sorry for me right now.
We are 117 episodes in. This is nothing new.
For real.
So close to Christmas. I wanted to ask you, Lysandra, what's a cherished childhood Christmas memory for you?
It sounds so cliche, but it's the truth. We would all sit around and read the Christmas story in Luke 2. We would take turns and each read a verse or 2 verses sometimes and go around the room and do that. And then we would open presents.
Nice.
Yeah. So that really is one of my favorite things, which we will be carrying out that tradition on the beach at sunrise this Christmas as we did last year. So it makes me happy. You?
I have a pot, like 2 unforgettables.
Okay.
One of them was the year we got a Sega Genesis. My brother and I got a Sega Genesis for Christmas.
Sounds boring.
Came with Sonic the Hedgehog, and we played Sonic.
I liked
nonstop.
playing Sonic.
Yeah.
That was one game that I did enjoy playing as a kid. My brother played that. Okay.
And then, but the one that I remember because it was like the biggest letdown ever. My dad got us a remote control car. I might have told this story on the podcast. I don't remember.
I know I've heard it. I don't know if the podcast has.
But got us a remote control car. And growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, so like a really big, nice present was a big sacrifice.
Was it one car to share between the brothers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was like a big remote control car.
Okay.
And it was an abnormally warm Christmas. Like, there was no snow on the ground. It was nice outside. I think we went outside in T-shirts.
This is in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
So it was super rare. It's like negative degrees in Iowa right now today. Mm-hmm. And I think it's supposed to be negative degrees this Christmas.
Ooh.
So for us to be outside in T-shirts, it was probably 30-some, 40 degrees. Mm-hmm. Which in Florida, it's supposed to be that for Christmas in Florida, and I'm freezing. But my dad, we went outside, and he drove it first, which I think is so funny. But he drives it down our sidewalk, and this huge dog comes out of nowhere. Somebody didn't have it chained up. Their dog comes out and just destroys the remote control car. Like, me and my brother never even got a chance to drive it.
It's so sad.
We got to look at it and then just watch as this dog destroyed our present.
You can't write this stuff.
You can't. It's my life.
It sounds like a horrible children's Christmas movie where you feel bad for the kid. We're sorry. We love you. We're going to give you a better Christmas.
Wait a minute. We're sorry we love me.
No, we're sorry for you. We love you. All right. So we will be putting up a GoFundMe page for a remote control car for Thomas for Christmas.
Might as well make it a drone while you're at it.
A drone. Now you want a drone.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You ready to get into this episode?
Because that way I can fly a drone around while we podcast.
I don't know why we would ever want to do that.
Because they have a camera on it. People can get drone's eye view.
I don't know why anybody would want that.
You could zoom in even closer.
It's a bad idea.
It could do like a 360 around your head.
It's a bad idea. And then eat my hair. I've seen those videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
For you.
All right. We're going to get in today's episode.
Great.
Are you ready?
I got one yawn. Okay, I'm ready.
You don't look awake.
I don't feel awake. I probably should have made another coffee. I had one coffee like an hour ago, but I'm starting to feel sleepy again.
Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The Family Meeting is a show that's all about family relationships. We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas. This is my wife. Insert name here.
Hello.
Sleepy.
Hello, and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 7. Can I try that again?
Yes. Welcome to episode 17.
Plus 100.
Oh, the old-timey numbering. Luckily, no one can see you right now.
Darn that stinking camera. Okay. Okay, for real. Hello, and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 117 of the Family Meeting Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the cleanliness of your child's bedroom. Is anyone scared yet?
A little bit. So, before we jump into today's episode,
Okay.
it's almost Christmas time.
Yes, it is.
And
I'm very excited. I love Christmas.
I've got a special Christmas surprise planned
For me, for the family, for the kids.
for you.
Okay. I can't wait. What is it?
Well, I can't really tell you. I can give you a hint, but
Okay.
it comes in just a bow.
A new car?
Nope.
I really was hoping it was. Okay. Should we continue with this episode then?
But that reminds me.
Oh my gosh.
That reminds me that we need you to jump into our 31 Days to a Better Marriage challenge.
Yes.
So, hop in the Facebook group.
You have thrown me off, babe. And it's like 2 seconds into the podcast.
2 seconds in. I knew you were going to be like, what's he going to say?
Yeah. I'm always like, what's he going to say?
I love going off script.
Not so much for me.
I know. It's my favorite thing to do. But 31 Days to a Better Marriage challenge.
Yeah. It's been fun.
And the challenge for today is to take your spouse out to their favorite restaurant. So you're going to be able to go get a nice, tasty meal and have a good time just working on your marriage. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter that we are 21 days in now.
Mm-hmm.
You can jump in. All the challenges are listed in the group. Plus, we'll have some other content and things that will be to help you have the family relationships that you want to have. So,
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying this challenge because it has been nice to, I don't want to say forced, but kind of be forced to think about each other and forced to do nice things for each other and to take time for things. It's been really good, right?
it's been good. It has been challenging. I'm not going to lie, because
It's called a challenge.
I know, and it lives up to the title. Sunday is obviously one of my most busy days.
Mm-hmm.
And where I have to give a lot of energy to people, spiritually, all that. And the challenge for the day was do the dishes. So
I could not believe
came home from working,
Yeah.
and then we had lunch, and I did the dishes.
It's really ironic that dishes fell on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever
and-
designed that really did a poor job.
Yes, you did. So I usually do dishes in our house. In fact, we've been married for 19 years, and my recollection is that you've done the dishes once or twice in that time, because I don't want him to do the dishes.
When you're around, yes.
Yes, that's true. If I leave, he has to do the dishes before I get back. But when I leave, that means you do the dishes how many times?
A couple times, probably, depending.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends on how long you're gone.
Okay, right. Yeah. So anyway, it's very rare that Thomas does the dishes. I prefer to do them or have the kids do them exactly as I want them to be done.
So I really, and I don't know where half the stuff goes. So
Yeah.
it might be in like a little scavenger hunt trying to.
Yeah, it's been real.
I was like, this
It's been real fun.
This looks like it goes here.
So I'm watching him do the dishes on Sunday, and finally I was like, okay, I'm going to go work on my computer. I just had to leave because it was just like torture.
I can't stand this anymore.
There were several times when I wanted to just be like, honey, go upstairs. I'm going to do the dishes. For one thing, I knew you were tired. Like, you weren't trying to like, oh, woe is me it or anything, but you were definitely tired. And it was just a nightmare watching you. But you did it.
Challenge accomplished. And we have a better marriage because of it.
Yes, we do.
So.
Okay.
Jump into the Facebook group.
Yeah. All right, so talking about keeping your children's rooms clean. Some of our children's bedrooms are really scary.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about two extremes of these opinions because not everyone agrees on this. This is can be a real source of contention. In fact, we have had couples talk about how frustrated they are with their spouse because they disagree on how clean their children's rooms should be. So we're going to also share what we do in our home, whether it's right or wrong. We don't know, but it's what we do. But before we go into that, Thomas, what was your room like as a child or a teenager?
It was pretty messy most of the time. I'm trying to think.
You shared a room with your brother, Christopher?
Yep. Shared a room with my brother. Okay. And we're both like not super neat, clean people as far as like organization and all that. So
no,
it was a mess most of the time. Every once in a while, my parents would make us clean it up.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was just push everything under the bed, make the bed, which was super rare. And then we did make the blanket touch the floor.
Nice.
And just shove everything under the bed.
It's a great trick. Someone was recently telling me, and it had to be your mom because she was here. I can't think of who else would have told me this, but that you would take off your dirty socks and leave them in the room. And so pretty soon your room would smell like dirty socks.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
That's probably accurate. Okay. Yeah.
I must have been your mom telling me about that. But anyway.
You get used to that, like where you don't even notice it.
Nose blind.
Yeah, nose blind. That's it.
It's a real thing.
All right. So
Okay.
what about you? What was yours like?
My room was very, very clean most of the time. There were times when my room was covered in clean clothes, like on the floor and on the bed and everywhere. And the times that it was like that was because I was getting ready to like leave and to get ready for something. And I couldn't find anything that I thought looked good on me. So I would change a million times, but I knew like time was running out. So I wouldn't fold and put them back away. So I would leave and go to the thing. When I would come home, then I would refold and reorganize everything.
That's super funny that your room was sometimes covered with clean clothes.
Yes. Never, ever dirty clothes.
Mine was always dirty clothes, never clean clothes.
We're a match made in heaven or something.
Sure.
Or something. Okay. So here's a different question. This is not the same question. What expectation did your parents have regarding the cleanliness of your room?
None that I know of. Like once it started affecting the rest of the house, I think that's when, or it was just at random sometimes. They would decide, I don't know who would decide, but decide it was time for us to clean up our room.
Okay.
Like I don't remember ever there being a rhyme or a reason. It was not like every couple weeks or once a month. It was a random time, at least a pattern I didn't recognize.
Okay.
Where today was Judgment Day, you have to clean your room.
Judgment Day. Okay, so when you say it was affecting the rest of the house, how did it affect the rest of the house?
Like probably smell.
I'm thinking smell. Okay.
Because that was your brother, right?
That was my brother. Yeah, that was totally my brother. My brother had a teeny tiny room. I mean, it was big enough for a twin size bed and then maybe one more twin size bed. So there was that much open space besides his bed. It was teeny tiny, and my brother was such a slob growing up. I don't think he is now at all. His wife has really worked on him, and he is much better than he used to be. I think that the same is true on you. But anyway,
I will say this.
Okay, say this.
There are studies done that having kids changes a man.
That is so true.
Like in a lot of ways.
There's a podcast episode for us.
That may have something to do with it. Having somebody chirping in your ear constantly may also have something to do with it.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
That's true.
All right, ladies, you heard it here first.
Squeak,
Nagging works. Nagging works.
As long as you like being resented, nagging works great.
I love being resented. It's how I've lived most of my life. Okay, so I really hope people can sense sarcasm. We need a sarcasm blinking light behind us.
That's not going to help our podcast listeners. You're going to have to jump on YouTube for that.
Okay, so my brother, that's what we're talking about. My brother, this poor soul who cannot be here to defend himself today. My brother's room was gross all the time. And my mom's only rule was if he kept the door closed, she didn't care. But if he left the door open, he was in big trouble because it was filthy. And the other rule was if we could smell his room in the rest of the house, it meant he had to clean it, right? So there was this one time when my brother, it was starting to smell, and my mom was like, it's time for you to clean your room. You have to clean your room. So my brother came to me, the neat freak next door, and he's like, I'll pay you to clean my room. Now, I was probably 12 or 13. So I was not like an 8-year-old little child to be deceived. I was in adolescence. And I said, yeah, I'll clean your room for money. Like, first of all, I was always excited to earn money. Second of all, I wanted his room cleaned really bad because it bothered me.
How much money?
It was $1.
What?
It was a single dollar.
You did it for $1.
I did it for $1.
You did it for the enjoyment of organizing and cleaning the room.
I wanted to clean that room. But I also got $1, so I was $1 richer. And that dollar has benefited your life.
Richer.
Because I invested that dollar and made millions.
Yeah, I wish.
On another episode, not today, but everybody remind me, on another episode, I'm going to share what else I did for $1 when I was a child.
That was dumb.
It was really stupid, but I'm going to share that on a different episode. It's not time. We don't have time for it here.
But what about your own room? Like, that was the expectation she had for him. Did your parents have any expectations for your room?
They didn't have to have expectations for me because I kept it clean.
It was clean.
Yeah. And I cleaned a lot of our house because my parents worked a lot. They worked very, very hard. Blue collar jobs where they really had to work hard and lots of hours. And so I usually cleaned the house as well. Which I liked. So.
I will say I love and appreciate being married to a woman who likes things tidy. It's a nice environment to live in.
Good. It's not like miserable, like I'm always, why isn't everything perfectly clean?
No, but there's something nice about walking into a clean space and living in a clean space. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That I like.
Agree. I like it too. All right, one last question, and then we're going to really get into the content of this episode. Thomas,
yes.
You went to Pensacola Christian College.
I did.
There were high expectations for cleanliness in your bedroom.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, you had to keep things tidy.
Which would be hard for a kid who only every once in a while had to shove stuff under his bed.
Very much so.
What was it like when it was white glove time at PCC? So
when white glove would come around, like they would literally come in with white gloves and look for dust and everything. You had to absolutely make the place clean and spotless and whatever. When Ryan and I were roommates, Ryan pastors in Southside Baptist Church in Sarasota, Florida. We were roommates and we're best friends now. We were rooming together. We went out and got this orange air freshener, this aerosol spray.
That doesn't sound good.
And I think we got a couple bottles. And we cleaned the room.
Okay.
And then we just unloaded the aerosol bottles in the room.
2 aerosol, and this is a small dorm room. The dorm rooms there are really
So
tiny.
our thought process is, if they can't stand to be in the room, they can't really check it that well.
With a strategy.
So, and obviously they're gonna think, oh, these are just dumb kids. They're trying to like make it fresh. But yeah.
Did it work?
It worked most of the time. We very rarely had to come back and clean something up.
You did this multiple times with the stupid orange spray.
Yeah.
I guess I should say smart orange spray because it worked.
Yeah. Plus we got high as a kite.
Okay. We're going to have to edit that out. All right.
But yeah, but they had high expectations.
Okay.
But this is like one of the things I would do. I work grounds in hot Florida sun.
Ugh.
And I would never do. I didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't want to spend what money I had doing laundry.
Oh gosh, Thomas.
So I didn't wash my uniform the whole year.
Oh, I don't even like to hear you
Every
say
once
it.
in a while, my roommates would take a collection so I could wash my uniform.
It's so gross. I'm upset by this.
That's the man you kiss.
Not anymore. Okay. So there are two extremes on cleaning your kids' rooms. And here's what I've heard. Maybe there are more. It's their room. If they want to live in a pigsty, let them. No big deal. The room can be any way they want. So this kind of free-for-all, anything goes kind of perspective, it's their room. If they want to live in a pigsty, let them. Okay. The other extreme. It's my house. Therefore, it's my room. And they will keep it perfectly clean, white glove, like I want it all the time. And there are negatives I can see with both, like, of these trains of thoughts. And if you lean toward keeping their room any old way they choose, I think that there are a lot of things that can be negative about that. For one, bugs can come in. Like if you don't have any rules about food in the bedroom and drinks and sugar and all of that, you're going to get bugs. We live in Florida, and that is something that you fight all the time living in Florida. The stench can waft outside of their room into the common areas, like we noticed in these teenage boys here that we've been talking about, Thomas and Josiah. Okay. What about the fact that they also don't learn to take care of their things? Like they don't show any value of their stuff because they don't take care of it. I also feel really sorry for their future college roommates and their future spouse. Someone will most likely along the way have to live with this child who never cleans their stuff.
Shout out to Ryan, Mark, and Keith, freshman roommates.
God bless you, poor people. It also sends a message that it doesn't matter how you keep your stuff, even though we're called to be good stewards of everything God puts in our trust. So those are some negatives with this whole idea of like, it's their room, let them live in it, nothing matters.
Now, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
How often do you go in our girls' rooms?
Not often. I try to stay out of there, and we're going to talk about why. I don't go in our girls' rooms very often. Well, today I guess I shouldn't say not that often, because like I wake them up at certain times, and I probably am in our girls' rooms 3 times a week.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I might go in there 3 times a quarter.
Yeah. The truth is, we have a lot of family time out in the common areas together. They are not in their rooms very often at all. So like we don't very often have to go into their rooms to find them. Like they're usually in the common areas. I think that might be one reason why. And their rooms are like over in the other wing. In the West Wing.
It sounds like we have this huge mansion.
We do not have a huge mansion, but it's out of the way. Their rooms are not on the way to anything in our house except for the laundry room.
Right.
Yeah.
So I go up the stairs, turn left. That's my bedroom. That's mainly where I spend my time if I'm upstairs.
Me too. Okay.
But, I agree with everything you just said. I can also see the negatives of the other extreme. Mm-hmm. If you're forcing your child to keep the room perfectly and checking in and forcing it regularly, they may feel like they don't have their own space and are a guest in their own home. And our children need to feel comfortable in their home. They need to be allowed to live there and play. And, otherwise they come to resent the constant picking and nagging about the cleanliness of their room. It also can become a waste of your time and theirs. Time which could be spent on more important things, like people are developing your family relationships.
Okay. I see those negatives as well. In our home, our goal with this and all other areas really is balance. That's what we're trying to achieve. Some sort of balance in all of these ways. We try not to be extreme either way. Our goal is to allow our children to live in their rooms, to be comfortable in there, but also at the same time, take ownership for the items God has entrusted them. We also expect a certain level of order to ensure they can find their schoolwork, their clothes, their shoes, and any other items that, we ask them to find. And we'll share in a minute the way that we operate to try to get these results. But it is so frustrating when people can't find things in a family. Like, it's time to go. You need to get your shoes on. I can't find my
Yeah.
shoes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we lived that way for a long time when they were little because we had so many kids so close to one another. So we had a lot of little children who needed help with everything at the same time. So I worked really hard when they were little to keep things organized so I could always find their shoes and always find, you know, the outfit that they needed or the coat or the mittens or whatever. But it was a huge job.
You talked about having balance because we do want the kids to feel like this is their home and they can relax. So, one of the ways we have balance in our home is we have an upstairs common area. It's got a TV and different things.
Legos.
And the kids are allowed to live there. They don't have to pick up everything constantly. Like now downstairs here where we could have company come by anytime, where we have a lot of church functions because we do lead a church plant and don't have our own facilities. So a lot of the downstairs area is spent with work stuff and people over. So that's kept pretty clean most of the time, and that's the expectation. Mm-hmm. But the upstairs living room will often not be thoroughly cleaned.
Right.
For quite a while. I came out of my bedroom yesterday into and of course the common area is right there. I'm like, whoa, this is really, like, I noticed that. It was really clean.
Yep.
Yesterday. All the Legos were put away as far as I can tell.
They were.
And everything was cleaned and picked up. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the balance though that we strike is you can have your stuff out up here within reason.
Yeah, we're not going to be stepping on Legos.
But we're going to keep certain common areas. They're going to be clean and ready to be used.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, we got something we need to address.
We do.
And
okay.
Lysandra and I need your help with an argument we've had for 19 years of marriage.
I'm right.
Over 19 now. You don't even know what I'm going to say.
But I know I'm right.
Nice. You're like, if we're arguing about it, I'm right. And that is, here's the argument. Do you need to make the bed every day?
Yes. And I'm right.
So for those of you watching on YouTube right now, I want you to put in the comments, help us settle the argument.
Vote for me. Vote for me.
Do you need to make the bed every day? Podcast listeners, hop on our social media and let us know. Do you need to make the bed every day?
Yes.
And there was, Elite Daily had a really fascinating article about people who make their beds. And they took information from many sources. And here's one quote from the article. And just the name of the website is going to sound like it's not a real thing and go against my argument, but just ignore that. Okay? So this is a quote from the article. According to a survey of 68,000 people by hunch.com. I'm not going to look up that website. It just doesn't sound great, but
oh my.
59% of people don't make their beds.
Wow, that is shocking to me.
While 27% do. And some of you who are fast at math are like, that's not 100%. The other 12 or so percent pay someone to do it for them.
Wow, I'm jealous of the 12%.
So, I think it's interesting that the majority of people like me do not make their bed.
That really shocks me because we've not argued, but talked about this.
Yeah.
For our whole marriage. Like, we need to make the bed every day. No, we don't. Yes, we do. And I thought that you were the minority. I thought the majority was like me making their bed every day.
We're in the middle of the 31 Days to a Better Marriage challenge. One of the challenges was make the bed for your spouse.
Yes.
And I made the bed for the first time since we moved here. I don't know when the last time I made the bed was.
You told me when you made the bed that it was your first time since college.
It might be true.
That's like 20 years ago.
So I did my best, right? I did my absolute best. Because she's got these little floofy pillows and whatever she puts on there that you can sleep with. and you literally
But
have to
it's
throw
pretty.
them on the floor so you can go to bed at night. I make the bed to the best of my ability, and later on she comes in. I was like, I'm like, how did I do? And your response was hilarious. You're like, it's good. Your voice gets high, and I'm like, okay, what did I do wrong? Like,
I just
show
want
me.
to nitpick when you did something nice, so I tried to be like, it's really good.
Well, like in 20 years, when I make the bed again, I want to know the proper way of how you like the bed made.
Do you really think we're gonna last another 20 years?
I don't know that I'm going to last 20 years, but I can write a note to your next husband and say, this is how she wants, I'll diagram it.
Thank you. I hope he's rich.
So.
I'm kidding, everybody. I'm kidding. Sort of. I'm kidding.
Wow.
Jokes, everybody. Jokes. I'm in a mood. Okay.
All right. So I'm in the majority though. Like most people they don't make their bed every day.
No.
It seems like such a waste for me. Like you're just going to get in the bed.
I think that's people's argument, and it's ridiculous, but I know. Okay. So we're talking about this article from Elite Daily. Here's some more quotes. Okay. These are like random quotes. Your bed is a symbol of you. There's something about having your bed feel orderly that makes you feel that way. And that is me. That's it. If my bed is orderly, I feel orderly. Like I have an emotional response to cleanliness.
Yeah, obviously with the $1 clean like the garbage dump of your brother's stinky room.
Well, were you there? Like that was very well described.
No, but I knew what my room was like as a teenager. So
Okay. All right, listen to this. 71 this is another survey there from hunch.com. I'm so sorry about that website.
please, if you're going to go there and look up the survey,
Do so at your own risk.
we did not go to the website ahead of time.
No, we did not. I have no idea what
You should have double checked that before you put hunch.com on there.
71% of bed makers say they're happy, while 62% of non-bed makers consider themselves unhappy. Now, if that isn't disturbing enough, a survey conducted by the Sleep Foundation found those who make their beds every day or almost every day are more likely to get a good night's sleep every day or almost every day than those who don't make their beds.
Yeah, because they're so freaking tired from making their bed every day.
Not. How exhausting was it for you to make the bed that one time?
That's a lot of pillows to move around.
Okay.
That's why they're sleeping better.
Yeah.
They're tired from making the bed.
Listen to this. Making your bed can boost productivity and create stronger skills and even sticking at a budget. Fascinating what all this bed making is doing in my life.
Well, I find it fascinating that you make the bed every day. I do not. And we're both co-hosts on the same podcast. So we have risen to the same level of success. You've just worked harder.
That is no truer words have ever been spoken. That right there could just go through our whole life.
Yep. So
Okay, so I make the bed every day unless Thomas is still in it when I get out. Then I do not make the bed around him. I will leave it.
I do appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. So
Now here's the real question that comes out in
Okay.
the Osterkamp home.
Okay.
Because everyone out there is listening to, this is what I think, this is what you think. Now, what about what do you guys make your kids do every day? Do you make your
Yeah.
kids make their bed every day? So I'll let Lysandra answer this question.
we do not. And I don't like that. But there again, I don't go over there. I don't go into their room without a purpose.
What I think is funny is I don't remember us ever having a conversation about the kids' room, about expectations. You and I. Or about if they should make their bed every day. I almost never go in their room, so I never even think about their rooms.
Right. When they were little, I would make their bed for them when they were like literally too small to make it for themselves. But as they got older, I tried to have them do it and everything, and they did such a poor job. And it was like, I think that I came to the conclusion, this is not worth my time. Like there are so many other things that I'm doing to train them in manners and behaviors that the bed making, I gave up on it. And part of that, though, was conversations that you and I had about the fact that I needed to be less controlling. And I wanted my kids to feel comfortable in their home. And that was something I fought constantly in my own heart, is how to be happy with the cleanliness of our home, but also not alienate my family from living in it.
Which I think is huge, because there are a lot of people out there like you that really just, they have the emotional response to cleanliness, and they force that on everybody else in the home. Mm-hmm. So I think it's phenomenal that even though you want your bed made every day, and if you really thought about it, I'm sure you would say you would want their beds made every single day.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
But to let them choose whether or not they make their bed every day, I think is a great thing for you.
Yeah. That was something I wrestled with a long time ago.
Now, I don't go in their rooms very often. Do any of them make their bed every day?
No. Mm-mm.
I know.
But now they do make it here and there.
If any of them were going to make their bed, it would be Abigail.
You are right.
Sure.
It is usually Abigail who will make her bed. Also, here's other thing.
She likes order.
This is the other reason that they don't, is we have one bed for two girls. So we have two girls in one room, two girls in the other, and only one bed. We don't have two beds for each.
I'm surprised they don't all sleep in one bed.
Well,
if they
could, they still would.
If they could, they still would.
So here's the reason, though. They each have their own comforter
on
their bed. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
Sure.
They don't want to share their blankets. So they have their own comforters. And so therefore, to make the bed would be like this half with one comforter and this half with the other. So it's just, they just don't do it. But now I really want to enforce that. I want to enforce them to make their beds, especially based on the information we just learned about from elitesomething.com. What was that? I can't remember.
Elite did the survey from hunch.com.
Well, yeah. Okay.
So, but as Lysandra said a minute ago, our goal in our house is to allow our children to live in the rooms, to be comfortable, but also to take ownership for the items that God has entrusted them with. And we also need them to be organized enough to find stuff. And we've all been there, where our kids can't find something and make us late. And it's infuriating.
Yes, it is.
Right in our house. And it seems to always happen on Sunday mornings when we had to hurry up and get to church. Now that they're older and there's a level of expected organization, that rarely happens. Mm-hmm. Which makes for a much more peaceful home. And I think one of the things that helped too is the girls working and making their own money and having to buy some things for themselves. Mm-hmm. They've learned about the value of some things.
Right. They take care of the stuff that they have an investment in. Okay, so the first thing that you and your husband need to do regarding the cleanliness of your children's room is to decide what your expectations will be of your children and their rooms. Most likely you will not agree. Thomas and I, as you've already heard, we don't agree. We have come to an agreement or a compromise though. And we did, I think that you don't remember conversations, but we did have conversations earlier on in our marriage.
It was probably
when the kids were little.
Very, very, so long ago, I don't remember.
You don't remember. And for you, they weren't a pivotal moment in your life. They were for me.
I could see that, because for me, it was just, hey, we don't want it to be this huge mess, which is reasonable. But for you, it was like, it goes against who you are as a person.
Yes, I had to let go of the desire for perfection. That I have a desire for perfection in everything. Okay, but I've chosen and worked on letting things go for years. And so for me, that was something that I had to let go. When they were old enough to clean their own rooms, I was no longer doing it for them, but I couldn't expect a 5-year-old to have that level of perfection I have. So where does that land? Like, where do we end up? So we did have conversations about that.
I can see why that would be a very pivotal and memorable moment in conversation for you.
Very significant in my life.
I will say I'm very proud of you.
Well, thanks.
I'm proud of you for going against that natural tendency to have things perfect, because I know that is difficult.
It is really hard for me. But this is the bottom line. My kids are more important to me than perfection.
Right.
Like, that is the bottom line. My kids are more important to me than perfection.
And I think maybe there are some listeners out there that are really struggling with this. And we're not talking about letting your kids just live in a dump with food all over and all that. Like, we do have expectation. But understanding that your kids and your relationship with them is more important than having things exactly perfect and tidy.
Yep. Yeah. But as you discuss, what the expectations are going to be with your spouse, you need to talk about the way that it affects you emotionally, because you're both coming at this with different feelings about mess. And it's really crazy how everybody has a different level of mess that they are comfortable with.
For sure.
And then you put all these people with different levels of mess comfort and you throw them into one home. And you're like, everybody live and be happy.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense that this would be an area of contention in your home. It's okay, but we got to talk this out. We got to figure this out. Like I had to explain to Thomas how messy areas make me feel. Like he didn't understand that because he doesn't feel the same way about messy areas. So I had to explain that to him. I couldn't just assume, why do you not know this? How do you not understand? I had to help him to understand. Thomas does not get affected emotionally by mess until it's really, really bad.
Yeah.
You do have an emotional response when things are terrible.
Very strong, very strongly.
Yeah. And it hasn't happened in our home, but it has happened elsewhere.
Yes, where I've been to people's houses and it's just stuff stacked everywhere. No place to sit, can barely walk through rooms like that. I don't want to even be in a house like that.
That affects you emotionally. But if it doesn't get that bad, then you're like, cool. You're easy breezy. Yep. Lemon squeezy.
Yeah, and I don't notice, honestly. I don't notice. But I also understand how Lysandra feels, and so I will often use that against her. Just to mess with her. So
you're such a bad.
Right now our Christmas tree is decorated all blue and silver, and there's one red bulb. Merry Christmas 2022 on their tree right now.
The girls got it last night at their teen ornament exchange.
And someone put it on the Christmas tree right before we started recording this episode.
Yeah, and that is so cruel. Like it's cruel, It's psychopath behavior is what it is.
Sometimes I will just leave the cupboards open and wait for Lysandra to find them. What do you feel when you walk around the corner, and you see the cupboard doors open?
Scared. Okay, that doesn't seem like the right word, but I do. I feel scared. I feel like, what's happening in my life? My life is falling apart. And the first time you did it, I just screamed.
It was all of them.
Every cupboard, every drawer in the kitchen. I thought someone had been in our home. I screamed. I'm like, Thomas, help, and I'm running to shut all the cabinets, but also watching for like a thief. And you come down the stairs laughing, and I'm like, oh. Then severe rage and anger come out next towards you, my one and only husband.
So I understand how she feels emotionally to that, and I have a little fun with it. Mm-hmm. See, and she understands how I feel emotionally about certain things, so if she wants to mess with me, she will clean off my desk.
Mm-hmm. Every so often. Today
and then I'm like, what happened? Yeah. Someone's been in here. A thief has come in and organized my desk.
Yes. Only a home invasion would make sense there.
But you both need to share what you think should be the expectation in your home for your children and their bedrooms. And then discuss the reason why you feel that way. And if one of you is completely against your children cleaning their rooms, it could be because your mom was a little bit of a neat freak, tyrant.
Me?
No.
Oh, yeah. My mom wasn't a neat freak tyrant at all. No, my mom was thrilled because I would clean the house. You're saying I'm the neat freak tyrant? We just talked. You just said like 2 seconds ago you were proud of me for not being like that.
You're not like that. I'm just saying you could be that.
All right. Inside, I am a neat freak tyrant.
Yeah.
But I keep that person bottled up.
You keep the monster cage. You keep the monster caged. And for that, I am proud because that definitely could be you. I see it. That totally could be you.
That's who I want to be. That's who my flesh wants me to be.
And so maybe that's why somebody has such a strong reaction. And then they're
Right.
bringing some of that baggage into their home and swinging the pendulum too far the other direction.
Right.
And it really isn't healthy for you or your children to live in filth. It's not.
Right.
Like, there are so many studies on what that does to your psyche, what that does to your self-worth, and what people who live in that environment accomplish. Are there people that rise out of that, live in that filth, and still accomplish great things? Sure. But far more people are on the other side where they do make their beds every day. Like, I read leadership books. Like, I know that pretty much anybody at the top of anything makes their bed every day. Like, the successful ones make their bed every day. They exercise every day. They have these routines that they
It's discipline.
establish. It's all about discipline. And so, like, I know that, but it's not enough to make me want to make my bed every day.
Well, most of the time I make it for you, so you don't even have to. But
So, yeah, that way I can be successful when I don't have to do it.
and it's all because of me.
Yes, I owe it all to you.
Yeah, I know.
I owe most of it to you.
Yeah.
And so you do need to understand what that type of lifestyle affects, how it's going to affect your child long term.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly, that is, you know, the standard for your cleanliness, to have a healthy, happy home and to make it peaceful. Like, that's a good thing to have some sort of standard.
It is good.
And that's really something you taught me. You know, I didn't understand that when we first got married.
Right. Yeah. But you taught me to understand that cleanliness isn't the first priority, although it is a priority, not the first priority. And Thomas helped me to understand that our children have to be children. They have to have toys. They have to play with their toys. They have to live in their room, and they need to feel like it's theirs to a certain extent. And that's why sitting down and having the discussion about the cleanliness of your children's bedrooms and why you feel that way is so important. The goal is that eventually the two of you will help each other to come to a healthy balance. Even though you are bringing in your own weird baggage from your childhood, if you both bring in your own weird baggage, hopefully, like, you can unpack all the baggage,
Yeah.
lay it out on the table,
Get rid
fold
of
it up.
Get rid of the ultra weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like, throw that away.
And then put the rest back into your joint suitcase, and then that's what you implement to your kids.
Yeah, because I really think there is a balance between, like, absolute spotless perfection and not washing your work clothes for a year. I think there is a balance.
There is, and hopefully we've achieved that.
You know,
now.
maybe clean every 6 months.
Oh my, no, that's not enough. Okay, we're joking.
Yes.
Okay, so I this is something else that just came to my mind right now. Thomas was remembering when Catherine was teeny tiny, like 2 or 3 years old. And she would come to us and she would say, I have my treasures. It's my treasures.
Collection.
That's right.
Yeah,
My
because we
collection."
heard the
Little
Mermaid
Little
song.
Mermaid. And that was where she got it. The Little Mermaid had a collection of all her stuff, and then her dad came and destroyed it all. So Catherine would have a collection, and it was like trash.
just random stuff she would
It
find.
was
whatever.
stuff that she would find. It could be a milk cap. It could be a little ball. Like whatever she could find, and she would put it in this little collection of hers. Now, if I did what I wanted to do as like the neat freak tyrant that is caged up inside of me, I would have been like, those aren't treasures. That's a bad collection. It's a collection of trash. We're going to throw that away right now.
You would totally King Triton her.
I would King Triton her. I'd be like, and then she would run away from home and marry some dude.
Yep.
Yeah. Like on The Little Mermaid. But I didn't do that. Like, I was working very hard to not be that person. And so I would look at her collection and I'd be like, wow, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
Yeah.
And
Look at this amazing milk cap.
wow, it's so blue. But anyway, that's something that like I wanted my child to be a child. And sometimes that means letting them have junk to a certain extent. There again, to a certain extent.
Yes.
So,
All right. So you figured out your standard.
okay.
My recommendation is to write it down on paper, on a poster, and hang it in the hallway by your children's bedroom. Or a note on your phone that you can text to your kids. And our standard in our home is fairly simple. No food or drink in our kids' bedrooms. And we have to be able to walk in and out so the floor can't be covered in crap.
That's a good rule.
Literally and figuratively. Mm-hmm. There can't be dirty laundry in their bedrooms because it'll stink eventually.
Yep, they have a joint hamper in their bathroom.
Yep, so they have to make sure there's not dirty laundry everywhere. And the main way for our family to keep the bedrooms clean is when we have company. They have to clean their rooms like really well.
Deep clean.
So Grandma was just here for 2.5 weeks, went home yesterday, very early in the morning, drive to the airport.
Tough day.
But before Grandma came, they had to deep clean their rooms, make sure it's nice for company to come over. When their cousins come to stay, you got to clean your room.
Well, and anytime we even have families over for dinner with children, because the children are going to go to the family room, the children are going to go look at their bedrooms. It's just part of it. So anytime we have company in this house that has children or stays overnight, their bedrooms and the family room get deep cleaned.
So we have company enough that the bedrooms stay pretty clean and they don't have to make their bed every day. Mm-hmm. They don't have to sweep every day or dust. But they do have to keep it company clean often enough that the stuff gets done.
Right.
And this might not work for you in your home, but once again, what we talked about is, hey, we're not necessarily telling you the right way. We're telling you this is what we do. You have to figure out what works for your home and your environment. You might have to decide that they have to sweep or vacuum the room once a week, or every day you expect them to tidy the room to a certain standard. Whatever you choose, write it down, make it public, and I would say make it reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Reasonable is an important one.
Because once again, the people are more important than perfection.
Amen.
But we also need to teach our kids the other side of the coin that, hey, you need to think about others and not just yourself when it comes to your stuff and your mess and your filth also. But you can't enforce rules that you've not communicated. So that's not fair to your kids. So you have to know what the rules are and you have to communicate them well.
So once the standard and expectation is set, then the hard part comes in, enforcing. And I think enforcing the rules is the hardest part of parenting. Because to enforce rules, you have to pay attention. You have to watch and see when those rules have been broken. And then when you realize that a rule has been broken, you have to do something about it. And that's difficult, especially when you're tired or you're lazy or both.
Yeah.
But if the rule is no dirty laundry on my child's floor, then until that becomes their habit, I have to check their floor. Not once a day, but multiple times a day to see if there's dirty laundry on the floor. Otherwise, that rule that I have set will mean nothing. Enforcing is really where the change comes in. So you really have to enforce this standard that you've set.
Well, and you also have to come up with a system for enforcing because as we've mentioned, I just don't notice things. I can walk through the kitchen and not see dirty dishes.
I don't understand it.
I don't notice stuff.
Yeah.
Now, because of Lysandra's bent towards wanting perfection, she does notice things. She notices everything.
Yeah.
Which is very nice when I'm looking for something because she's noticed it's where it is probably. Mm-hmm. 99% of the time, if I ask Lysandra, have you seen, she has seen it.
Yep.
So one of the things that Lysandra notices these things a lot quicker than I do. So there's times where she's like texting me or talking to me saying, hey, there's dirty laundry all over the floor. Can you just go in there and have the kids clean it up? So we've established this is what we're doing to help enforce the rules. Because no one likes to enforce it all the time. Mm-hmm. Some of you are like, well, if she notices it, why doesn't she just be the one to tell them right there? Well, because no one wants to be the person to enforce it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm their parent. I should be involved in that. And I do want to be involved in that. Even though it's not fun, like, I'm a partner with my wife.
Yes.
So I want to be involved in the enforcement, even though it's not the fun job. So most of the time, a lot of the time, Lysandra will just tell him. And then there's times where she will let me know, text me and say, hey, can you just go in there and have them clean this up? They've got dishes in their room for whatever reason, even though that's against the rule. Can you go enforce that? So setting up and establishing, how you are going to do that, and what are the consequences going to be?
Yeah. And enforcing stuff is not a step you can skip.
Right.
You have to do it. So not only do you have to enforce them to do it, but you have to enforce them to do it well. So there have been many times when the girls will be like, yep, I swept. And I'm like, well, there's dirt everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't say that. But I'll go to Thomas and I'll tell him, like, okay, so-and-so did sweep, but she did a terrible job. There's dirt in the corners that, it needs to be redone. And then he will come downstairs and be like, hey, I can see there's dirt over here. Like, you'll have to redo this job.
Yeah, so I remember one time recently. Mm-hmm. I don't remember which kid it was, but they were supposed to sweep, and they said they did, and maybe they attempted, but they didn't do a good job. And once again, if I notice it, it's pretty egregious. So yes. I'm like, okay, did you sweep? I give them a chance to answer the question. Did you sweep? Yes. I'm like, really? So I give
when they hear that word,
so really, I give them another.
Like,
I give them another chance. Like, well, there's a big ball of hair over here. What's this dust pile? What are these wrappers doing over here? And like 4 or 5 different places there was stuff, and I'm like, there's no way you just swept this thing.
You just made our house sound really filthy.
It was disgusting.
Yes. So you have to enforce them to do it well and to the standard that you have set.
Are we keeping you up?
I just yawned. It's not fun, but it has to be done. This enforcing. Hey, it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. Get it?
Nose goes.
Oh, man.
You again.
All right. The next thing that we want to talk about, and the last thing that we want to talk about, is the thing we talk about almost every episode. Who can guess it? If you want your children to do something, you have to be the example. We talk about that a lot in all parenting episodes. So if you want your kid to make their bed every day, make your bed every day. If you want your kids to put the dirty laundry in the hamper, put the dirty laundry in the hamper. If you want your kids to sweep and vacuum their rooms, sweep and vacuum your room. You get it, right? You seeing the pattern here. We need to keep the same standard that we're expecting from our child. Why? Because if we don't, it's going to breed resentment and anger from our children. They'll see us as hypocrites, and everyone hates hypocrites.
Absolutely everyone does.
Yes. So, and the other thing too that I think about here is, like, for instance, Thomas, you don't care about making the bed every day.
I don't.
So in my opinion, it would be kind of a jerk move for you to go in and make the girls make their bed every day.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, I don't see why parents are forcing their children to do something that they don't want to do themselves. Now, maybe I could understand this if it's like, I don't play the piano, but I'm forcing my kid to take piano lessons because I know they have potential in this area. I get like that scenario. But as far as cleanliness and stuff, if you're not willing to do it yourself and you don't think it's an important thing for you to do, why are you forcing your child to do it? Why is that even a standard you've set? Is kind of how I'm looking at it.
I don't understand it either. But they're out there. Mm-hmm. They're out there.
They're out there. But nobody likes a hypocrite, so don't be a hypocrite. Exemplify the behavior you want your child to have.
So have a family meeting tonight and just talk about the standard of cleanliness you expect in your children's bedrooms. And write out the expectations. Communicate them clearly. And maybe you do expect them to make their bed every day. You want to teach them that discipline. Hey, that's great. We're not telling you not to do that. But if that's what you want, as Lysandra mentioned, you need to make sure you're doing that for yourself first. And you need to communicate that clearly. Like, this is the expectation. Everybody's making their bed every single day. And then discuss how those things are going to be enforced. And what are the consequences for not keeping the rooms as clean as they should be. You say, hey, no eating in the bedroom, but you keep finding wrappers, you keep finding dishes in there. What are the consequences going to be?
No food or candy for a year.
That makes sense.
Sorry. Continue on.
But if you haven't been keeping the standard yourself, you need to apologize. Share how you are trying to do better and meet the standard in your own bedroom.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. I hope you found this information helpful. Please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or you can send us an email. We'd love to hear your episode ideas. We're getting ready for 2023. And we've had an interesting idea come in from our Facebook group already that we are definitely adding to the list, but we would love to get some of those ideas from you. You can shoot those over to us at info@familymeeting.org or text or send us a voice message at 904-257-3062.
And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting as we're going to talk about having your spouse's back. We're supposed to be a team, and that means I can count on you to have my back. Or can I?
And it's a great time to talk about that because we're in the midst of the holiday season. That means families coming together, and sometimes that brings conflict. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, having your spouse's back. Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great and a clean week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
I'd like to have a clean week, baby.
No, thanks.
I like cleanliness so much.
It is next to godliness.
Yes. As we read in the scriptures. No, we don't.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Cleanalations 2:20.
Ha, nice one. So I am about to go get filthy because I have a paint job. And when I come home from my paint job, I have paint everywhere.
Yeah, she's not a clean painter.
I am not a clean painter. I keep the floors clean and the trim clean, but I do not keep me clean.
Yeah. So, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. And please, help us settle the debate. Make the bed, don't make the bed. Hunch.com. We'll see you next time.